I want to share something that I might have a hard time communicating, so I'm going to give this a shot and see if I can communicate what I feel the Lord has been showing me. I made it my goal to memorize John chapters 14 through 17 by the end of the year. And so far, I've memorized 21 verses of John 14. And because it takes me a long time to memorize, or to stick with me anyway, I have to keep saying it over and over. And as I have, these words have really taken on such new meaning to me and just such depth as I imagine the setting and picture the tone of voice that either Thomas or Philip or Jesus was using. And I see that here Jesus is about to go to the cross. And this is like the last moments that he'll have with the disciples that he has spent 3 years with. And I can even picture like the sadness in his voice when he says to Philip, "Have I been so long with you, and yet you have not come to know me?" Philip, thinking, "Oh, well, you need to." But he uses the words see and know many times in those verses. He wants people to see him and to know him. And then he says that when he leaves, he's going to ask the Father to send another helper that will be with him forever. And that, of course, is the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive because they do not see him or know him. But then he says, but you know him because he abides with you and will be in you. Then he says that whoever, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. And he also says, he who has my commandments and keeps them, he it is who loves me. And my Father will love him and will disclose myself to him. And I'm just seeing this whole relationship thing. It's such a love relationship. See me, know me, love me. And when he says that the works that he says, I do not say anything on my own initiative. The words that I speak, the words that I say, I do not speak on my own initiative, but the Father abiding in me does his works. And truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes in me, the works that I do, he will do also, but greater works than these will he do because I go to the Father. And all of these things have tied together for me, combined with 1 John 2, where John goes on to say how you know if you don't say you know him. Don't say he abides in you or you abide in him unless you keep his commandments. And all of this has been about Jesus living in us, abiding in us abiding in him, and us seeing him and knowing him, but how much easier it is because he went to his Father and now we have his Spirit in us. So he is abiding in us. And he says that he abides in God, we abide in him, and he abides in us. If we can realize that he wants us to see him and to know him, and he wants to abide in us, it makes sense then that we don't have to work at joy, because he says that his joy remains in us. He says that his peace he left with us. The word says that we live by the faith of the Son of God. We live by Jesus' faith. All of this is not stuff that we have to work harder to get, because it's his. So when we can live understanding his abiding in us, knowing him and seeing him through the fact that he lives within us, then if you look at me and you see joy on my face, it's not even my joy. It's not something I worked for, because his joy is complete. His love is perfected. His faith doesn't ever need to be raised. His love, joy, his peace, he is perfect. So when I am abiding in him and he is abiding in me and his words are abiding in me, nothing is on my own, not my joy. I love you, not my love. I have peace, it's not my peace. I walk in faith, not my faith. Because when I've tried to have peace, I've tried to have joy, I've tried to love people, I've tried to have so much faith. And it's so difficult, it's such a work. But when I abide in him and he abides in me, it's not even my own. It's like I'm not even my own. I'm just walking around with Jesus living in me, and the things that I'm doing are things that actually the Father is doing when I'm abiding in him. And we know we're abiding in him when we keep his commandments. And we know he who loves me, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. Can't remember what it says in 1 John 2, but it does talk about um, how love and obedience go together. And so I did take time. I just did it this morning, but to look over the commands of Jesus. Not every commandment in the Bible, but specifically in the Gospels, the commands that Jesus gave. And I'm going to give myself a little checkup to see how am I doing with the things that he commanded. But at first glance, so much of it has to do with our relationship to others. We are commanded to forgive and to love and to go the extra mile, to turn the other cheek. But all of that is only possible if he is living in us, and it's his love and his work in us. So that's my little revelation for today.